The third key in receiving more wealth and success in your life is really on uncovering and discovering the blocks that we might have to receiving more wealth. And it can show up in many ways. And normally, this is really where I work with my clients the most on initially, and why we can move so quickly to them experiencing greater wealth and success is because once we identify the blocks and are able to clear them, to be able to forgive um, anything that has happened that might be blocking us, even if we don't even know what that it is. We might have a sense of it, but this is where you can really rapidly begin to have um, exponential growth and to start seeing more wealth come to you. And I really want you to hear that it's a it's a it this can be a challenging part of the process, and I really grappled with whether I would include it because it really because the one thing I want you to remember going through this particular lesson, as well as all lessons, is to be gentle with yourself, to be loving, kind, compassionate with yourself, and not to get stuck in the blocks because we want to clear those blocks. And, generally I start with my clients on family history and how has money been used in their family. Um, and, what are their earliest memories of money and wealth, and what were their contrast to wealth in as they grew up. And one example was I was coaching a client, and um, I got this, and because of the gifts that I have been given from God, I have the ability to sometimes see imagery that is um, somewhat similar to their experience. So um, it's not clairvoyance or anything like that. It's just a sense of something that is showing up. And so an example would be when I was coaching a client, and she was talking about her childhood, and I said, what I'm sensing is that you're standing in a door between two worlds. One, there's like this vast desert, and one is this beautiful, lush, open home with greenery and expansiveness. And she said, "Oh my God, that is that was my life. I grew up in the projects, and this was in another country, and um, outside of the United States. And I had so much love, but we had no money. But my best friend had this beautiful home, and it had a pool, and um, but they didn't have love, and so it was this torn feeling of I want to go back to my parents and love them, and uh, but I love the warmth and the wealth that I get to experience here." And she had all these doll houses, and this is when she was 6, 7, 8. And so we take that on, and we then later in life, you know, are grappled with, do I choose love or do I choose money? And we don't know why it's such a struggle, but it comes from when we were little. We had no idea. And it could be, and to some people believe in karma and past lives, and I'm not sure 100%, but there's no other way to explain it. And maybe in a past life someone was a tyrant, um, and they're wondering why now they're subjected to tyrants in this lifetime. um, so I say that, and I really want you, again, check everything out for yourself. This isn't about religion or doctrine or any prescribed way of thinking. But if there's something, sometimes when you're thinking about your life and you don't know why you are stopped or blocked, um, it might be because you have messages from your early childhood. You have messages that may not even be related to money, but we as children equate it to money. So sometimes we put meaning on things, not knowing, and they're unconscious. And some ways to get to those are, one of my favorite books is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And I love this book and used it to really, it was really the first book where I was acknowledging my own creativity. And she has a principle called the morning pages. And you write 3 full pages, handwritten, not typed, because it's a different energy. And you just keep writing. And it's really a brain dump. And it was many times, how do I get underneath what I'm feeling inside? And it was, there have been some of my morning pages definitely needed to burn. They had lots of expletives and bad words in them, and that was all that was in my consciousness at the time. But I needed to get them out. And another form of that is free-form writing. And that, again, is just writing every word as it shows up, and it gets under the unconscious. And it just clears you. And I have a 3-page rule in morning page. Morning pages was 3 pages, but what I also discovered in free-form writing was, and they're very similar, but burn the free-form writing. And these are not to be shared. It's really, you just kind of unloading on paper. You burn or flush, shred and flush into a toilet, and bless it and release it as it goes, so that there's no issues in the pipelines. But I found after the 3 pages, creativity started to show up. Messages started to show up. Oh, I wonder what this would be like, and to really have fun with that. And but again, it took some practice. Now I can get to it much faster. But initially, it was consistently every day doing 3 pages. And what it might show up for us is places where we might be holding judgments and unforgiveness, and both of those block wealth, plain and simple. Block us from receiving. And I'm not talking about forgiveness from you have to, letting people off the hook. It's really forgiveness about, we don't always know why something happened. And I have a master's in spiritual psychology from the University of Santa Monica. And it was such a glorious program. And a lot of what we learned there was compassionate self-forgiveness. And in that, and I highly recommend you go to that school. Highly, highly. It is one of my greatest accomplishments, was going there. And to get a taste of that, they wrote a book called Loyalty to Your Soul. And it's the heart of spiritual psychology. And it's by Ron and Mary Hulnick, doctors Ron and Mary Hulnick. And you'll find a link on this page, but you'll also find the exercises in Forgiveness Here. You'll also, in the Journey to Abundance, which you received with this program, you'll also find at the back in section A, a forgiveness letter. And basically it's, look at who do you need to forgive. And I've had to write many letters and forgive over and over and over again. We don't just do it once and it's done. No, because we're human. We are human. So I have had to forgive some people several times, and forgive myself for the judgment that they did anything wrong. And that's in Loyalty to Your Soul. And then in this forgiveness letter that I have, and that one comes from another one of my favorite books called 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life. And this is by Reverend Diane Harmony. And I actually have a gratitude story in this book, and there are links on this page. But I asked to reproduce that letter. And when you're doing the forgiveness letter, it walks you through the things that you can, um, the emotions that you go through when you're feeling anger towards someone. So, it has dear and then the date, and these are not to be shared. Again, these are for you and for your assistance only. And I'm writing this letter to share my feelings. I don't like it that um, that you called me names, or I don't like it that you sabotaged, or I'm angry that, and it walks you through. And then underneath anger is sadness. I feel sad that you felt the way you needed. Don't censor this part. Don't, just get it out. Um, I feel hurt that you didn't care enough about this. I'm afraid that I'll continue to manifest this. I'm afraid that I'm not worthy. You can go to, I'm sorry I didn't, and then it goes to regret. I'm sorry I didn't tell you how I felt. I feel ashamed. Um, and then, it ends in love and forgiveness. And, you know, I understand that you weren't trying to hurt me. And so it takes you through a process, and I explain it very quickly, but the process, and use the outline that is there, because it will help you uncover uh, and discover the things that you need to let go of. And when we judge others, we're really judging ourselves, and we're criticizing others. We're really criticizing ourselves and holding ourselves to a standard that we can't generally meet. And so, with all of this, it's about love and forgiveness and joy and health, and receiving more love and wealth and success in our life. So, look at the resources that you have. Um, Journal this week. Try morning pages, or try, 3, just stream of consciousness. As it comes in, write it down. If a thought switches, just switch with it. Um, you know, uh, Today is Tuesday, and I'm so tired. Elephants just walked in the room, and I hope that I get to work on time. And it's just however it shows up, just continue to write. And then again, these are not to be shared with others. They are to be, you can burn them if you have a fireplace that is suitable for burning. I have a canister outside, or I flush them down the toilet, and I forgive myself for any judgments. And that's really the compassionate self-forgiveness that's in loyalty to your soul. Is I forgive myself for judging myself for anything. Um, and that's a high level. And and again, my clients who I work with privately, we go through this a lot more. We really delve into what could be blocking them, and so if you're interested in that, there's a link on the page to learn more about working with me privately as well. So enjoy this lesson. Be gentle with yourself. Do your wealth exercise. Journal. Do at least one forgiveness exercise, even if it's with God. I've had to forgive God many, many times. Not that he needed forgiving, but I needed to forgive him for the judgments I held against him. And so be gentle and loving and compassionate and gracious with yourself as you go through this process. And let me know if you need assistance further to clear the blocks that you may be experiencing. So have a wonderful day.